Hello, and welcome back to another rousing round of Am I the A-Hole? Wedding edition on Reddit. It's been a hot minute since we've done one of these, and there have been some posts being posted. We gotta spend some time talking about it. Hi, if you're new here, my name's Jamie Wolfer. I'm your online wedding planner, and I teach you how to plan your wedding as affordably and as stress-free as possible. And occasionally we read AITAs on the internet to teach us how to and or how to not to plan our weddings, and for a little bit of levity and relief. Am I the a-hole for not changing my daughter's wedding venue, even though my sister's husband proposed to his 22-year-old mistress there last month? What in the Jerry Springer do we have going on over here? Okay. Reddit says not the a-hole. I, 51 female, put down a $20,000 non-refundable deposit on this gorgeous beachfront estate for my daughter. Let's call her Amy, 26 female, weddings next September. $20,000 deposit. Oh, girl got that good money. Okay. We booked it 18 months out. For context, and without revealing too much, it's the venue in our area. It has been Amy's dream wedding spot in all of her Pinterest boards. Last month, my sister, let's call her Carol, 53 female, found out her cheating ex-husband, let's call him Mark, 55 male, proposed to his coworker, 28 female. She was 22 when they started having an affair, who he had been having an affair with. I feel like we're repeating information, but that's fine. That's just me nitpicking your writing skills. The woman posted engagement photos from the same venue, specifically the beautiful beach area where Amy plans to have her ceremony. Carol is obviously destroyed. She called me sobbing, begging me to change venues. She says she can't watch Amy get married where Mark proposed to a girl younger than his own daughter. Can't smile for photos on that beach. I feel sick for her, I do, but $20,000 non-refundable deposit. Save the date's already sent. Amy's dreamed of this venue since high school. Everything else is booked or 3x the price. So she tried. Oh gosh. I told Carol I can't lose $20,000 and crush Amy's dreams because Mark is trash. Fair. Carol says I'm choosing money over her mental health. Not fair. That I'm forcing her to relive the worst betrayal of her life for pretty pictures. Not fair. I also talked to Amy about it, and she does not want a venue change. That it's not her fault. Mark, who's been out of all of our lives for the past 5 years, ruined that place for Carol. Carol called Amy a spoiled brat who wouldn't understand real pain. Now Carol's skipping Thanksgiving. My and Carol's side of the family, her daughters, and to some extent my parents, says I'm heartless. Oh, Jerry Springer indeed. The place is cursed anyway. Why would we host Amy's big day there? Okay, now we're just adding in brand new information just to solidify our argument that we probably made up on the spot. My husband's side of the family says Carol doesn't get to hijack Amy's wedding because her husband's a cheater. Am I the a-hole for not switching venues? Goodness gracious, we're off to a rousing start this time. Okay, listen. $20,000. Like what? Don't let the posh collared attire fool you. I got this from Goodwill. I don't have a single family member that would say, hey, you could light 20 grand on fire because my feelings are hurt, right? You could do that, right? Because that's what this is. That's what it is. And it's just it sucks and I feel bad for Carol, but hello. We can't, what are you thinking? No, point blank, don't think OP's the a-hole here. What in tarnation? Carol, I will happily switch venues if you want to cover the cost of the deposit that we'll be losing and any increase in wedding costs since we will need to move locations with a much shorter time frame. Also, if you want to handle the administrative work of printing up all the save the dates and sending them out to all the people on our list, saying change of address. If you want to do all those things, I will happily switch locations. It's not to live a life where I could make a request of a family member to just say goodbye to $20,000. What would that be like? I can't fathom this. But I think what I find the most puzzling is that there's multiple family members on Carol's side of the family, they're yeah, you're being heartless. You're being rude. You're being inconsiderate. Listen, Amy booked it first. Amy sent out save the dates. Mark and his little new friend, we're not condoning their behavior. And I do feel really bad for Carol, but what? Amy called dibs first. I don't think Amy and her family should be punished both emotionally and financially because of some guy who made a decision that ended his family as he knew it. Obviously I don't know the guy. I don't know the person he proposed to. She may be lovely. Obviously Carol's got some stuff to work through, but this is a very highly impractical request. This makes no sense. None whatsoever. and the fact that we've got multiple people jumping on board, I cannot find a way or thought process in which OP would be considered the a-hole here. But what do I know? Because Reddit usually like wholeheartedly disagrees with me on certain things, but probably not this one. But also to call Amy a spoiled brat, like what? Well, also put $20,000 as a deposit down on a wedding venue. That's a lot. That's a lot. I'm not saying Amy's spoiled, but I'm saying that they have means. That's more money than I paid for my entire wedding. Who has been out of our lives for the last 5 years. Carol has had 5 years. It is sad that the wounds are fresh and deep, but it isn't your daughter's issue to repair, not the a-hole. Yeah, but also it could be one of those things where Carol thought that she was healed and thought that she was better, and this just ripped it fresh and anew, you know? Like, I had time, I thought I had healed, I did not, and sometimes people say things when they're hurt or when they're grieving or when they're in pain that we need to give grace for. I think Carol's taking a little past that point. I think Carol's taking a little trip to Crazyville, just a little, jaunt down crazy lane, if you will. And while this may be reactionary, she could be in a much better place than she has been mentally, and then this just like brought her right back down. Like, I get it. Sometimes there's those things in life where like you think you're healed and then something pops up and you go, I have more work to do before that doesn't feel like this anymore. I get that. Carol took it a step further. Tell her you'd rather pay for some therapy for her than lose the $20K. She needs it. 5 years? Let's move on. Okay, again, it could be fresh. OP said, I was genuinely surprised Mark even came up as a point of consideration. She's worked so hard to move forward from that relationship and getting over him. The infidelity has understandably been a significant trigger for her mental health, and frankly, none of us expected his relationship with the other woman to last. She has not seen anyone since and has been focused on putting her daughters first. I deeply empathize with the trauma she is going through and truly feel for everything she's had to endure. This is really sweet. Sister is still trying. OP is still like, no, like you don't understand. Like she's just devastated. What she's doing with that devastation is deeply inappropriate. It's not appropriate. It's not okay. And I think OP is being really sweet to her sister. You don't understand. Like she's in a whole world. She's not even talking to people. She's in a whole world of pain. But the fact that this is getting bigger and we're involving other people, this is where good boundaries come in, right? We're like, listen, I ache with you. I agonize with you. I understand what you're feeling. And if you want to skip the ceremony, and you don't want to go, we don't have to do family photos there. We can find another spot to do family photos, we can figure out a way to make sure that you can still grieve properly, but we can't logically make these adjustments that you're requesting. We can make accommodations for the things we've already booked. We can make some adjustments, but we cannot change the wedding venue. Info, just to be clear on timeline here, you said Mark is the ex-husband, has been out of our lives for the last 5 years, so they divorced 5 years ago? Mark just proposed last month? Sorry, Carol, but if you've been divorced for 5 years, you need to not give a fart. What he's doing now, why was Carol even checking the mistress's posts? First of all, Facebook be doing some of us dirty, okay? And sometimes we get some recommended posts that pop up on our feed and we're like, I don't want anything to do with that. It's like the photo memories that your phone will sometimes put together for you. And you're like, oh, that was actually a really traumatic time. Thank you so much for putting it together as a little photo montage with a sweet little musical background for me to take a trip down memory lane to that with you. Phone, appreciate it. How do I delete this entire album? How do I do that? So I'm not assuming that Carol's out there stalking. And you know what? She might be. I've got some Facebook stalkers in my family. I've got some family members who are like, you know what I saw on Facebook the other day? And it's some sort of like unhinged feed from like a friend of a friend type situation. I'm like, how did you have time to even go here? What are you doing? Also, I do sort of find that fascinating. Personally, I don't go stalking people on Facebook to find out about their lives. Instead, I go to Reddit and read about strangers' lives and talk about it on the internet in front of thousands of people. Not the a-hole. If Carol can't bring herself to go to that spot, that's sad. But that's all it is. There's no need for you to lose your money or for your daughter to lose the venue she wants. OP said, thank you for the thought. I really feel for Carol. I really do. And it's so hard to not have my sister support her niece's best day. Not the a-hole. Carol needs therapy. She's been divorced for 5 years and can't get over it. Nat, this is new. New things are being unlocked. It's not that she hasn't gotten over it. This is a new trauma. This is fresh, okay? Then she thinks she has the right to order you and your daughter to change the wedding plans. Nope, solution is easy. Carol is uninvited from the wedding. If my sister called my daughter those names because my daughter didn't want to cancel her wedding plan and wanted me to lose $20K because sister can't move past a 5-year-old divorce, then I will never have contact with my sister again. Wow. Okay. Speaking of needing therapy, we need a little grace and compassion up in this comment section, guys. And again, I'm not agreeing with Carol. Carol needs to chill, but this is also a new trauma. But also she's using this new trauma to be abusive to the people around her. But like, yes, she's had 5 years. This part's fresh though. So she's allowed to have a little bit of mourning. She's not allowed to be a butthead about it, which she is. It's nuance, you know what I mean? Update! Oh, Carol's willing to pay Amy the $20,000 non-refundable deposit, essentially paying Amy not to host her wedding at that venue. I'm guessing Carol is using her alimony money for this. Amy is deeply unhappy with Carol. To her, even with the $20,000 being covered, finding a new venue and reorganizing everything would be a huge hassle. I'm on team Amy, but I feel like I'm losing half my family over this. Carol. Okay, maybe you do need therapy. Spending $20,000 on someone else's wedding just to like get it to move. Timeline clarification. I booked and paid a $20,000 non-refundable deposit for Amy's dream wedding 18 months ago. Carol's ex-husband had an affair with a woman who was 22 when it started 5 years ago, now 28. He just proposed to the mistress a month ago at this same unfortunate venue. If y'all change locations, instead of this being Carol's issue that she needs to work through, it will be your daughter's memory that her dream wedding was ruined because a grown woman made her emotions everyone else's problem. Stop talking to Carol about this. It should never have been brought to Amy at all. Well, sometimes that's not how families work. Sometimes families talk a lot in this kind of situation where, like, if you're close to your aunt and it's affecting her, you might want to know. So yeah, it makes sense that Amy would find out about this, depending on their family dynamic. Not the a-hole, but if you keep entertaining the idea of moving locations, you'll be the a-hole. What? No, you won't. This person's doing their best to not be the a-hole in any situation at all whatsoever. Moving it will not make them the a-hole because they're not just going to move it simply because Carol told them to. It would be a joint decision between them and Amy. I am arguing about the lives of people I don't even know on the internet. It is possible to be supportive of Carol without enabling her or doing it at the expense of your own child, not to mention the money. Okay. Not the a-hole. The wedding is 18 months away. Carol needs to work on her mental health between now and then. When her ex has a baby at a local hospital, will everyone have to use a different hospital? She's in pain now, but she will need to heal. Otherwise, she will be miserable. Yeah, see, I feel like there's a little bit more nuance to it than just this. I feel like, kind of distilling it to this point is hard. Again, I get where Carol's coming from. How she's using it, it's not great. There's a line that I use with my teenagers. I have 2 daughters. They're almost 16. They're literally like 2 weeks away from being 16. And yeah, I'm unwell every time I think about it. And sometimes when they get like a little frenetic, I will jokingly say, stop inviting people into your chaos, kiddo. Like, just like rein it in. Okay. Just like rein it in. And I feel like that is the perfect response for Carol. Okay. Carol, stop inviting everyone into your chaos, sweet girl. Like we can have compassion, and this can be a fresh wound. And we can also say you're getting a little swirly. You're being a little much. There's a little bit too much happening right here. You're causing a lot of family stuff. You're willing to pay $20,000 just so your niece won't get married where your ex proposed to his now fiance. That's a huge financial number. And unless you're at the point financially where $20,000 is nominal or insignificant to you, this, to me, in my opinion, is a very unhealthy decision. You should not be lighting $20,000 on fire for any man, especially an ex and their new fiance. You just shouldn't, okay? This is the part where you got to stop inviting people into your chaos and figure out what you're going to do with your life moving forward. So as far as OP is concerned, not the a-hole. I think OP's trained really hard to be compassionate and sweet and stuck between a rock and a hard place. This is the kind of situation where boundaries are great. They're hard, but they're great. Hey, we understand that you're going through something emotional. We don't think it's wise to accept $20,000 for something like this. We will do our best to accommodate you in that scenario if you want to not attend the ceremony, so you don't see the sand upon which they stood. We get it. We're not going to force you to be a part of any of the celebrations, but this isn't about you. This is about Amy's dream wedding. And we're not going to let Mark and this girl that he is now with, we're not going to let them rob Amy of this experience. And we're not going to let you invite her into your chaos because you can't figure out how to navigate this emotionally either. Anyways, that's just my take on it. I would make Amy the subject of conversation. You know what? Instead of giving him this win, instead of allowing him to claim this space, we are now going to take it for Amy. And we're now going to turn what was sadness into celebration. And we invite you to come join us in that. We're not going to let you spend $20,000 on this. We want better for you, okay? We want better for your daughters. We want you to put that aside for their wedding day or whatever. We know that you need to do this for your life. If you don't want to be there, that's fine. But we are not going to let his choices ruin her dreams. Half the family says I'm heartless. First, the F off. It's not your wedding day. It's your daughter's. And protect that child at all costs. I don't care if she's an adult and getting married. Don't let these a-holes near her happy day. And second the F off, did a single one of them offer to help reimburse you for $20,000 gosh darn dollars that you wouldn't get back while they were busy crying about you being heartless for the choices another man made? Whose wedding is this? Carol's? $20,000. Carol doesn't have to attend. Carol's trying to hijack Amy's happy day and assuming she has the right to over the venue is so ridiculous that I wouldn't be surprised if she was absolutely miserable to be married to in the first place. Jesus. Oh, I hope this post isn't real for your sake, because Carol sounds like a nasty little piece of work and I feel sorry for you. People don't just jump to these sorts of conclusions without the practice audacity in the first place. The practice audacity. Can we collectively decide that instead of saying the audacity, the practiced audacity? This is not your first time being audacious, is it? I could tell. And if half your family is on board, well, it sounds like her stuff isn't news to any of them. $20,000. Not the a-hole. Invite me instead of Carol. I'll celebrate Amy like hell, the way it should be. Honestly, invite all of us. We'll show up and we'll party up for Amy. Like, just let's go, Amy. We got you, friend. Okay, honestly, I feel like we got time for one more. Okay, so we're gonna go a little bit longer on this one because there's two of them that went kind of viral recently, and so here's the second one. This one, literally, as I'm reading this, was like a day ago. Okay, and it's already at 11,000 upvotes in a single day. So like, we gotta. Okay. Am I the a-hole for warning my sister if I would leave her off the wedding guest list if she doesn't stop pushing me to ask my mom's husband to walk me down the aisle? There's the whole post. That's it. No, just kidding. That's just the title. We're in for a long one. My sister, 22-year-old female, and I, 29-year-old female, share the same biological parents. I was 9 and she was 2 when our dad died, and I was 11 and she was 4 when our mom remarried. For lots of reasons, we don't have the same relationship with my mom's second husband. That's understandable. To my sister, he's dad. He's the best guy in the world, and she will scream from the rooftops to defend him. A few years ago, she went no contact with our dad's parents and siblings because she took offense to them calling us his little girls in a card they left on his grave. What? She told them she was our stepfather's little girl. She actually said we both were, and that dad didn't even raise us like he did. This was the first time we ever had a real fight between us, though we had bickered and disagreed on this topic before, because I told her he was not and would never be my dad. She accused our grandparents, aunts, and uncles of disrespecting our stepfather and of turning me against the family, and she told them she hoped they joined dad like they wanted to so bad since they wouldn't come to terms with who our real dad is now. So like she told them that she hopes they die? What? The fight between us continued beyond my sister cutting dad's family out of her life. She told me she had no idea I would be so set in my ways still, and that she thought I'd have seen things clearer being older. I told her it's because I'm older that I don't see it the same. I told her nobody replaced my dad. She told me it wasn't normal to have someone else raise you and to feel like they weren't your real parent. Yes, it is. What is happening with this person? Then she said I'd know him longer though, and parenting doesn't end at 18. I pointed out that I no longer lived with them at 18 and I never went to him for parenting or support. We've got a couple of very straightforward AITAs here today, folks, and we're not even, I think we're like halfway through this post. Okay. She argued he loved me as much as her and he didn't deserve to be the guy mom married. Wait, what? He loved me as much as her, didn't deserve to be the guy mom married. What? Okay. This fight lasted close to 5 weeks, and I had to take some time from her before it turned into something physical. She got so worked up, I expected it to become that. Yikes. We did make up, kinda, but we're still very much not on the same page about mom's husband. We also had a smaller fight over this topic around Father's Day because it was the 20th one without dad, and she didn't like my post to dad and felt it invalidated mom's husband. And maybe it did in her eyes because he became our dad when he married mom to her. But the reality is he only became her dad and never mine. And I'm not even close to him or to mom anymore because they could never wrap their heads around me not accepting him as my dad or my parent. Now the fight has turned into my wedding and the fact that mom's second husband will not be the father of the bride, will not walk me down the aisle, get a dance, or have a standout place at the wedding. He's mom's +1 and that's it for me. He'll be acknowledged in a toast with her, but that's it. My sister doesn't like it and has made it her mission to force my hand into asking him. What is happening? She even went behind my back and told him I was going to ask him and had finally come around and started a whole show between me and my mom over it. Mom's husband was too busy sulking over not being asked to fight it out with me. That's a whole other thing. I won't get into it here. I confronted my sister over what she did. She said she was trying to get me to do the right thing. I'm using finger quotes. OP is not. We argued and it turned into another fight. This is when I told her I would leave her off the guest list if she doesn't stop pushing. My sister told me I've always hated her for loving mom's husband, for not wanting dad to be her dad, but to have him as her dad because he's alive. She told me she never understood picking some dead guy over someone still alive who wanted to be our dad. She said I ruined our family. I told her I couldn't take my love away from dad and give it to somebody else, and I couldn't love somebody who tried to make me love them and tried to take a spot claimed by another. My sister got incredibly frustrated and started cussing me out. But then she told me I was being an A, and threatening to keep her from my wedding was to punish her when she didn't deserve it, and I was asking for too much. I told her I was serious, and I walked away from the fight and have refused to engage since. She has tried, and she has told me I can't keep her away from my wedding. Not being fair, and she loves me and doesn't want to miss her only sister getting married. But I'm seriously thinking I might need to keep her away. Am I the a-hole? Edited to add, when I talked about what mom's husband would not be at my wedding, I should have said that was the plan before things kicked off. Now, neither my mom or her husband are invited because of the argument that happened after my sister lied. Okay. We're gonna get real here for a second. I talk on this channel about like who you're supposed to invite, right? Guest list rules, etiquette rules, etc. We have conversations about that here. But the bottom line is you don't have to invite anybody that you don't want at your wedding. If you don't want them there, you do not have to invite them. It might cause social strife. It might cause issues within the family, but it is your wedding day. And if you don't want them there, they do not have to be there. Etiquette might suggest otherwise. Friends might suggest otherwise. Family members might suggest otherwise. Okay, so that's a baseline. Secondary to that, you do not have to give anyone a place of honor at your wedding. You may feel socially obligated to, you may feel morally obligated to, but there is no law that says you have to. You do not have to have anyone walk you down the aisle. You don't have to walk down the aisle. It might be a little weird if you don't. Might feel like we're missing something if you just like show up at the top of the altar, whatever. But like you don't have to do any of that. We've had several brides who have great relationships with their fathers who have chosen to not have them walk them down. We've had brides who have stepfathers who have walked them down. We've had brides that have had both father and stepfather walk them down. We have brides walk alone. We have brides walk with their fiancés. We've got a whole myriad of options, and none of them are legally required. So if you have someone in your life saying you have to do this, you don't. You might have situations where you feel like you should, but you don't. While this relationally is deeply nuanced and there's more going on here than I think that we're seeing, like obviously if mom and stepdad are also not coming, OP's got some stuff. And I'm not saying like OP's got some work to do. OP has some feelings. OP's got some stuff attached to this entire subject, and it seems like the sister's just not getting it. And it sounds to me like OP's like, hey, these are my boundaries. I said no. Let me repeat myself again. I said no. I'm going to say no again. And I feel like OP's sister's not taking the hint. So I understand where OP's coming from. Would I make these same choices? Probably not. Not necessarily. But then again, I feel like we're missing a lot. There's a lot of stuff that's being left out of this. We're missing context. We don't understand what's going on because now mom and stepdad aren't coming. Like I feel like there's more to this situation than we're seeing. But then again, honestly, we can only go based off the information that they're sharing with us. So yeah, I think that if you have someone who's making your wedding planning experience miserable, you are not required to invite them. I saw a TikTok the other day. It was like, you don't have to invite anybody to your wedding that you don't want to. Nobody that you don't want to. I do think that there are going to be social or moral pressures that like would argue against that, specifically maybe depending on your family or your culture, etc. So I think that's more nuanced. I feel like I've been using the term nuanced a lot recently because it needs to be said. But anywho, let's head to the comments section, see what they have to say. This is a simple case, really. Just ask her this. If stepdad died and mom found and married another guy, would you see new stepdad as your dad since both dad and old stepdad are dead? Or would old stepdad still be dad for you? If so, then you're no different than me since I still see dad as my only dad. If she feels that strong about stepdad, it would put y'all in the exact same position in the given situation. If she can't wrap her head around that, then she's a lost cause. She's not a lost cause. This situation might be a lost cause. This could be one of those things that's like a forever argument between the two of you. It might just be like, hey, agree to disagree. I don't have the same relationship and I'm not going to have the same relationship. And nothing you say will change that. And I will no longer be pursuing this conversation with you. But I don't think that necessarily makes sister like a lost cause. You know what I'm saying? Why are you doing this to yourself? Not the a-hole. Your sister should have been disinvited months ago. I don't get why you keep mulling about. She's determined to get her way or ruin your wedding. Because it's her sister and it's not as easy and as flippant as typing a comment on Reddit. This is a deep family relationship. They've been sisters for like 2 decades, okay? And so like weddings bring weird stuff out in people. This could be a perfect example of that. Or they just really highlight issues that have been there all along, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the sister is completely a lost cause. She should cut all contact with her. Instead, it could be something like, hey, I'm not talking about this with you. I'm not talking about this with you anymore. You bring it up again, I've already warned you, you're just not going to come to the wedding because clearly you can't handle this topic, this subject, this event without inserting your opinion and advice into it. I don't want to do that. I want you to be present. I want my sister at my wedding. If you continue down this line of conversation, though, you are choosing to not come because this is the boundary that I've set up. So if you choose to step over that, that's on you, not me. Sister sounds like a nutcase to me. How hard is it for her to understand that an 11-year-old has clear memory of her father that can never be replaced? She needs therapy and to be cut off from the guest list like yesterday. She's too entitled and a maniac to be allowed in. Okay. Or maybe OP hasn't had boundaries around this topic just yet and has now reached her breaking point where she's like, I'm done talking about this. Like, I've allowed you to run around on this topic for the last several months and sown and reaped chaos left and right. And like, now I'm done. So like, conversationally, I haven't made this clear to you yet. And now I'm making it clear. So now you have the opportunity to make a choice. Seriously, OP, I'd go completely North Carolina with the three of them and your sister needs some serious therapy. Why is this Reddit's response to everything? Oh, this person needs therapy. Oh, they need therapy. Which, by the way, like, I'm not knocking therapy. I do think that everyone would benefit from therapy. But I think when Reddit users use it, they're saying it more like this person shouldn't be allowed in polite society. It's like what they're saying. Oh, you need therapy. Like, you shouldn't be allowed to communicate with other humans because you became irrationally dysfunctional about this one topic in your life. So therefore, you shouldn't be allowed around anything that breathes ever again until you've gone through 6 to 12 months of intensive therapy. Not the a-hole, disinvite her. If mom doesn't come, oh well. Mom already isn't coming. Her and her husband were taken off the list after the fight we had over my sister's lie and me not asking him to save his feelings. Yeah, this one's sticky and this one's awkward. My guesses are a little bit more tension with the stepdad than we're seeing here. But yeah, if the sister went and lied, then that's on her. Like, she's inviting people into her chaos. This is giving Carol energy. You know what I mean? Like, stop inviting people into your chaos. Okay. But OP very clearly could still go to her mom and stepdad and say, hey, she was out of line sharing that. I don't plan on having anyone walk me down the aisle. I'm going to walk myself. And so I'm sorry if she got you feeling some kind of way about it. That was definitely inappropriate of her to do that. I'm excited and looking forward to having you guys there on my wedding day. We just won't be doing any of the perfunctory father-daughter things. It's an emotional thing for me. And instead of trying to figure out how to manage and navigate that, we're simply going to not include those in the wedding timeline. No, your family just doesn't have boundaries. No one should have forced you to call your stepfather dad, and he should have been content being an extra support rather than the only father you knew. We don't know that yet, though. Your sister is weird for projecting the love she feels for him onto you. I mean, it feels like a human response. Doesn't make it acceptable, but it feels human. Like, it doesn't lessen her love, it's just different for you, and that's okay. Fair. Your mom also needs to get a grip and stop trying to force your love for your step-parent. It should always be a child's choice. Yes. That's been an issue since day one of mom's husband meeting us. My sister and I had different reactions. Hers was what they wanted and mine wasn't. They pushed and pushed and my sister pushed, but way less as a kid. Now all three of them think they can push, only I can do way more about it now. I mean, like we talked about earlier, OP might not have had these boundaries yet. She's now seeing a need for them and instituting them. So this could be new. This could be new for her. She's now saying like, hey, I've let you run your mouth on this situation and invite people into this chaos repeatedly and I'm not doing it anymore. Okay, that's what I'm doing. I'm not doing it anymore. It sounds like she's making a pretty bold choice and not having her mom and her stepdad come as well because of boundaries that she's chosen to put up into place. And it looks like we see a little bit of it right here. I have better questions. Well, somebody's humble. 1, why didn't your stepdad grow some balls and step up and say to your sister, while I appreciate you loving me like I am your father, what you're doing to your sister is extremely inappropriate and harmful. What, did he not notice for 18 years that something was extremely wrong between you and your sister? Or did he just sit on his throne thinking that if his younger stepchild thinks of him as real dad, then the older must too? Why do people create these false dichotomies? Those are the only two things that this guy could be thinking? Either like, oh, I noticed that there's some pretty big disparagement, or I'm on my throne not paying attention at all. If one child feels this way, all of them feel this way. It's all the same. There's so many more emotions and elements to human life than what people like to distill it down to on Reddit. 2, why didn't your mom grow some spine and step in during those 18 years? Or did she also have some delusional dreams about how you would magically grow daughterly feelings for her new husband? Not the a-hole. By the way, your sister seems like she has some issues. The ones that are usually treated by therapy. The death of your father might have left a scar that she is desperately trying to fix, thus her behavior. Both my mom and her husband had those expectations. They set them. They were pushy too, and were taken off the guest list for that reason. Yep. Okay. Yep. This is one of those situations where I think we're getting a little bit of like everyone sucks here vibes, but mostly because of the commenters, not because of OP. I get where OP's coming from. I feel like we're withholding some information, and if I dug around a little bit more, I might see more comments that would give it more clarity. Listen, folks, if you are in a situation where someone is forcing you and or strong-arming you to having a person participate in your wedding or be a part of your wedding that you don't want, use this as an opportunity to flex those boundary muscles, baby, and have a conversation with them about it. There's nothing wrong with boundaries. You don't have to have anybody walking down the aisle if you don't want to. You don't have to do any of the perfunctory dances that you don't want to. You don't have to do a bouquet toss or a garter toss or a cake cutting. You don't have to do family photos if those are too emotional. You don't have to do a lot of things when it comes to your wedding day. I think that there's a whole video I did on the dark side of wedding planning where like the emotions that come out when you're planning a wedding from you and the people around you can sometimes feel really astonishing. You can sometimes be like, I don't even recognize these people in my life, or like, I didn't realize you had an opinion on this, or wow, this is really strong, or wow, this is bringing up things that I didn't realize I was feeling or you were feeling, and now I got to figure out how to navigate this. That is unfortunately common. That happens with great frequency. There's no shortage of am I the a-hole wedding posts on Reddit, because stuff happens and people are people. And so navigating them with grace and dignity and maintaining boundaries is hard, especially when you're planning arguably one of the most expensive and stressful and exciting days of your life. It's a lot. So give yourself grace in the meantime. Set boundaries. Find a good community that you can lean on if you need to. Reddit's fine for reacting to for viral videos, but I wouldn't recommend going there for real hearty or intentional feedback. You know what I'm saying? Anyways, let me hear your thoughts down in the comments, because as always, it's thrilling. Even if you disagree with me, that's totally fine. I'm okay with that, because honestly, the comments tell the algorithm that something interesting happened in this video. So disagree all you want. If you like the video and AITs in general, jump on down there and hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more tips and tricks for the modern day bride. And until next week, bye guys!